Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledges.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Alcha?
Here.
Mr. Lindemann?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Here.
Mr. Burry?
Here. Item D, board minutes not previously approved, 1 through 3. Mr. Lindeman,
I move to approve the board minutes.
is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes, item E. Number 1, summary of current events. Ms. Samaniego.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, members of our staff and community. We have some exciting an exciting game on Friday. It is our traditional pit game against Bisbee, so we invite the community and the board to attend. We also have upcoming is homecoming the week of September 22nd. And this week, I want to remind the parents that Wednesday is not an early release day due to parent-teacher conferences. And so we really strongly encourage our parents to attend the conferences Thursday from 1 to 7 at all schools except Douglas High School. And the high school, their parent conferences are also on Thursday, but starting at 2 to 7, which means then early release is on Friday instead of Wednesday. So that is what we have. And Mrs. Selcha and myself and Mr. Smith are attending the law conference these next 3 days. So we'll see what we bring back to the board.
Okay, why don't you just go ahead with the
Okay.
GEM award too.
And our GEM recipient for this month is an RBMS instructional support staff and aide who works with our special ed, our ESS kiddos. Adrian is always willing to help when and whenever needed. She is gentle with our ESS students and does especially well with our autistic kids. She wants to eventually get her teaching degree and focus on autism. She is always willing to learn, and therefore she is being nominated as our GEM Award. So Adriana, okay. Well, I was wondering, sorry, but that's what the form says. Adriana Cruz. So we issue you the GEM Award. You go above and beyond the extra mile for our ESS students, and we appreciate you. And here is your GEM Award for the month.
Governing board members reports. Mr. Smith.
No.
Ms. Alchow.
I'd like to say that recently I went to the Douglas High School parking lot when our seniors were painting parking spots that they had bought an opportunity to reserve for themselves, and they were personalizing all of them, and that was really fun and exciting to see their excitement at being able to claim their space. I also witnessed our softball team having a fundraiser this weekend, and those ladies worked hard, very, very hard, and were willing to help in other ways as well, not just in the kitchen and selling their breakfast and items. They helped in other ways too. I also know that the Douglas golf team helped along with the Labor Day golf tournament in picking up balls, range balls, and that is not easy work. It's not like they got to drive the little cart that sweeps them up. They were out there with their ball shaggers and doing that job as well.
Thank you. Mr. Lindeman.
I just wanted to say that good luck for the Bulldog football team. We're all behind you.
Mr. Ramos.
Sam, I'm glad school started again and looking forward for another good year.
Under number 2, school activity report. Sarib.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, and members of the public. The activity report for DHS for September is as follows. At Douglas High School, the National Honor Society handed out letters for the juniors who are eligible to apply, and also having a hamburger sale on September 20th at $10 each. September 2nd, the first volleyball game versus Desert View, not the first, sorry. There's a volleyball game today against Desert View, and there will also be one on the 11th, 15th, 24th, and 29th. And we'll also be having a hamburger sale on the 13th of September at $10 each ticket, but you have to purchase the tickets from a volleyball girl. Swim meets start this Thursday, and the first home one will be September 18th and the 25th. Cross country just finished 2 invitationals, the Rattler Invite and the Justin Previtt Classic, and will be attending the WHS Cross Country Invitational. The Spirit Line Band and Spike are going this Friday to the Port of Entry groundbreaking ceremonies luncheon, and the Spirit Line went to the last game at Flowing Wells and are traveling every game this season and will have a halftime show for the pick. On September 3rd, the Powder Puff game at Bisbee. On September 4th, the parent-teacher conferences and community pep rallies at 7 o'clock. September 5th is the first home football game, the second longest rivalry in the U.S., the pick. September 22nd through 26th is the homecoming week. The theme is prehistoric. The 25th, homecoming parade and bonfire. The 26th is the homecoming game versus the Rincon Rangers, which we will win hopefully. The student council is also planning for the pick and homecoming and will be having a homecoming dance on September 20th. 28 student council members also went on the Spirit Conference trip in Sabino High School held on the 20th of August. Skills USA had their induction ceremony last Thursday and new members were all inducted into office. And finally, FFA had their cold training just a few days ago on the 29th through the 30th of August.
Thank you for that. Mr. Soto, the budget and travel report.
Thank you, Mr. President. The report you have in front of you has the current numbers. As you well know, the first item in the agenda official for actions is going to be the approval of the revised budget. And the report you have in front of you, it reflects that new budget capacity. You see a balance there, and if you remember, we still have a lot of vacancies and positions that are frozen that we're in the process of, filling those positions. So again, this is, I don't want to say the final report, but the following month's report is going to be a lot more accurate in terms of that. We can go more in depth in terms of the numbers for the revision on the next item, but if you have any questions on this specific one, please let me know.
Okay, we'll do that. Ms. Cox, HR.
Good afternoon, board members, community members. In terms of HR, we still have 3 certified vacancies that we're looking to hire, 1 elementary and 2 middle school. In terms of enrollment, we had 50 enrollments for the month of August and 113 withdrawals. Our ADM currently is 3,346. But I was concerned about the number and asked, I wanted to know more. So last year at this time, we had 133 withdrawals as opposed to 113 this year, and 67 enrollments, and we only have 50 this year. And our ADM last year at this time was 3,386. So I wanted to share with you where the 113 comes from. So 2 of those students met graduation requirements, so they are gone. 7 of these kids are being homeschooled, which seems to be on the rise this year. 10, for other reasons, had to withdraw. 21 went to charter schools. 23 chose to go online. 36 of our students are moving or have moved out of town. And 14 were either 10-day drops or no-shows. And that's how we get to 113 for withdrawals in August.
Mr. Soto, when we get to that next item on the agenda for the budget, you'll address those withdrawals.
Yes,
Members
sir.
of the board, do you have any questions or comments regarding HR?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Cox.
Thank you.
Call to the public. We have the item that Dr. Gomez wants to address is the Rotary fly-in.
Good afternoon. I was just going to ask for support again. We're going to have every year we think it's going to be the last fly-in because the pilots are getting older. So I really encourage the staff to please help us get this information out. We're going to, if we can please, we're going to make a flyer and we'll have the forms available. We'll get all the copies to the principal's offices, and it really works out well. Zadie was there last year. If they fill out the paperwork before, then they email them and they have a scheduled time. If they just show up, we flew over 140 kids last year, and we had to do it in 2 days because the weather got a little bad, and those men came back. They donate their time, they donate their aircraft, and they donate most of the fuel, and Rotary picks up some of that fuel for them. So it's just an incredible opportunity. If you can get out there and just see these children, they're scared to death to get on these flights, and then when they come off, it's a cool thing to see. So October 25th is the date. And then we're going to be handing out the dictionaries again to every third grader in the district, and I will fill out the form for that donation. I believe I have our last count that we got this year was 381 third graders. So, or maybe not, that's with everybody in Douglas and the surrounding counties. So that might be a little bit more because we do the charter schools and the private schools as well. So thank you very much. We'll be getting that paperwork out to you.
Thank you. Item 2A, approval of the following consent agenda items. Number 1, payroll and expense voucher reports, A through C. Mr. Lindeman,
I move to approve the consent agenda items.
is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes. Item 3, discussion action on the approval of the revision to the district annual expenditure budget for the fiscal year 2025-26. Mr. Soto.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, like I just said previously, we have a new budget capacity. As you remember, we had to use last year's numbers, the per pupil allocation from last year. The ADM didn't change much in terms of state reports, and that's what we have to go by, right, to create the budget, to build the budget. As Mrs. Cox mentioned too, we've been experiencing some declining enrollment, but again, I have to go with what the state has on their reports. So there's potentially, hopefully we can recover for that, but we don't have to make another revision to the budget, probably not until December. I'm hoping that those numbers will, catch up to what is showing right now. But again, as she mentioned, is 3,346, right? So this revision is built on 3,380.6833, which that's what the state reports show. Another thing to mention here, the property tax has been approved by the supervisors, the county supervisors, as of August 21st, and it went down to 4.1847, a difference of minus 0.2113. So again, that's a good thing for our taxpayers. Again, one thing to keep in mind is that the enrollment. The enrollment is always an issue. Compared to last year, I can tell that it's kind of the same as what it was last year, but the year prior to that, 2024, that's where, there was where we experienced that loss. The budget adopted for 2024 was based on 3,478 kids, and again now it's 3,380 kids. So there's a difference of almost 100 kids. Okay. So again, I'm hoping that that the enrollment at least stays the same or gains a little bit more to what it should be, to what we're revising for. Lost my time. No. We talk about the health insurance that will still, good with that. I can tell you those funds are healthy and are able to support that contribution from the board. Remember, we went 90-10. Any questions?
Oh, what's the secondary rate?
Secondary rate right now is 0.7344.
And that's how much is the payoff on that, for that particular rate on the bond?
I don't have that number in front of me, but
Well,
it's
approximately, because that's what's reflected in that rate.
correct. So do you remember? 500,000 left.
No, that's what we paid. That's what that rate is reflected.
500,000 roughly.
Members of the board, Mr. Smith, any questions regarding the budget? No. Ms. Salchow?
No.
Mr. Lindeman?
What is the contribution from the state now? Was it 5131 that we talked about last meeting?
5,113.26.
513.
Last year was 5,013.
So it was 100.
It was $100
So that's
difference
still the same.
in our favor.
Okay.
Yes.
The other thing is, in the interest of our budget, did we talk about a travel ban at all in the past meetings?
Well, if I may
Yeah, go
answer
ahead,
that.
yeah.
Yes, what we talked about is the hiring freeze and trying to really condense any travel that is more mandatory or not, or maybe CT funded, so only necessary things or things that are beneficial to the district. So not saying we totally ban any travel, but really taking each request and really looking at it closely before we approve anything and bring it to the board.
So that's still our.
Yes,
our,
that's still
impetus
correct.
in effect.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I mentioned, we're looking at the positions that we still have vacant right now. We're gonna fill a lot of those positions, especially because most of them are ESSIAs that we have to have. And there's parent liaisons and there's other positions that we have to fill. But we're still looking at only filling the ones that are really necessary to continue and doing regular, normal business.
All right, thank you.
Before I get to Mr. Ramos, talking about those vacancies and the vacancy savings that you're accumulating there, you definitely and absolutely have a priority on security, right?
Correct.
So if you have a vacancy in security, that would be a given, that you would look at that without having to come to the board. And then if you felt like
approval,
you
correct.
needed board approval, you could come, but security is always top priority for the district and the board and the administration, correct?
Currently,
Right.
we have
So you
one.
have
One.
a vacancy.
We have
there.
one
We have
vacancy
one
at the
that
high
we're
school.
going to be seeking. We had kind of held, on hiring for the start of the school year, but we are going to be interviewing for that position. 'Cause
Okay,
we need to
good.
fill it, and it's for Douglas High School, which is the biggest, campus.
Well, given all of the events that have occurred around the state and
Mm-hmm.
the nation recently, I mean, we definitely don't want to skimp on that, right?
Correct.
Mr. Ramos?
No,
Sonia, did you have anything you wanted to add regarding the budget at all? No. Thank you. All right, item B, discussion action on the approval
need
of
a motion.
certified.
We need approval.
I'm sorry?
We need
She
approval.
needs a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. You have the motion on the floor.
No, I need.
We should have had that before.
Move to
Sorry.
approve the revision to the district annual expenditure budget.
Okay, Mr. Smith, discussion. Got a little ahead of ourselves there, it's all right. Any further discussion, anything you want to add? Sonia? Roll
Mr.
call.
Smith? Mr. Smith?
I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item B, discussion action on approval of certified hires, Ms. Samaniego.
Okay, as presented, there's quite a bit of certified individuals, and there's a group of 21st century teachers, and thankfully, the grant funds were released, and we were able to provide the 21st century. You have some emergency substitute teachers, some substitute teachers, an ESS teacher, a teacher at DHS, and a teacher at RBMS being presented.
Mr. Lindeman,
Move to approve the certified hires.
second
Second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any further discussion? There's a lot of information there, Mr.
I just had one quick question on the grants that you mentioned.
Mhm.
Are there any that are still frozen?
No,
Good news.
so.
Any further discussion? Anything you want to add to that, Ms. Cox?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item C, discussion action on the approval of classified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
Again, as presented, 21st Century, we had a vacancy for parent liaison at Paul Huber Middle School, and this is a substitute campus security officer that will kind of fall into place, work for any absences that we may have in the district.
Mr. Lindeman?
Move to approve the classified hires?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Discussion? One of the questions about some of those programs, the State Department was holding some of those monies, and they were gonna allocate it later. They were late on the passing through funds. Did you get those for some of those programs?
As far as I know, all of the grants have been, released, and they're
Okay.
working as normal as before.
But you remember
we
that they held some of the funds, and I'm not talking about the ones that
the
were in
frozen,
question.
uh-huh.
They
Right.
held some of the funds,
Some
but
of the
you
ones.
did get, okay.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item D, discussion information only for,
Mr. Breen, if I may have anybody introduce
Okay, sure.
themselves if they're here, certified or classified hires. We have one. You want to come and introduce, I only see one new face, so if you want to come introduce yourself to the mic and just say your name and what position.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Darian Paco, and I was hired for a parent liaison in Paul Huber. Hi.
Well, congratulations. Welcome. You're a young girl. Okay, and I believe that's all.
is that it? Okay. Item D, discussion information only for classified internal transfers. Ms. Almanego.
As presented, and this is just for information, those are 3 individuals that are transferring from sites.
Members of the board, you have any questions, comments regarding any of those transfers? Item E, discussion action on the approval of certified return. Ms. Almanego.
You have a retirement letter submitted by Ms. Maria Sexton, and you have her letter there. I do want to point out that per policy, GCQE, notice of retirement, shall be submitted no later than March 1st of the preceding year. So Mrs. Sexton indicated in her letter that she is aware that she has submitted her letter after March 1st. And I want to just remind why that date is set, and that is really for budget reasons, so that, we can plan ahead a year in advance for a payout of any retirement. We've had this situation before, where somebody has submitted their letter after March 1st, and then it's the prerogative of the board to, let's say, accept it and make a decision as to either the payout at the end of this year or in the following year. I also want to point out that there was a change in the policy, and we made the stipulation that failure to submit the retirement intent by March 1st or the deadline shall result in a retirement pay being processed in accordance with policy GCCA. So the policy GCCA refers to that the payout of the leave will be paid out at the highest certificated substitute rate according to the years of service as referenced in policy GCCA. So there is that difference in pay if you submit your retirement letter after March 1st. So I just want to point that out. But she is retiring at the end of 2026 school year.
How many years has she been with the district?
I don't know.
A lot.
A lot,
Many
and
years.
she's
I
an
think,
asset and has started in a regular high school classroom and then went into ESS, so she will be a loss to her elementary.
She
and-
was an elementary and then a
High school.
librarian in high
Uh-huh.
school.
So a lot of positions, and we will miss her.
Yeah, she's had a very successful
Yes.
tenure with the district. Mr. Soto, what about the payoff on that, on all of that? Do you have any problem with that when the time comes?
Well, no, again, that's the stipulation is, it's up to the board to make that decision if they
Right.
want to go ahead and, pay it as
This-
regular or at the certificated
No, well,
rate.
the
but-
policy is that it'll be paid out at that
Right.
highest certificated rate.
Yeah.
What the board is do we pay it at the end of the year? I don't think we'll have a problem.
No, we shouldn't. I always
to pay it
budget
out.
for
All right,
retirement.
members of the board, I'm gonna recommend that we accept that, given her outstanding career with the district, and to do any of the other accompanying factors such as the payout. He assured us everything's okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I move to approve the certified retirement.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item F, discussion action on the approval of classified resignations and retirements. Ms. Samanigo.
There are several resignations effective during the month of August, and then there are 2 retirements being presented, one for August of '25 and one for May of 2027.
Mr. Lindemann,
I move to approve the classified resignations and retirements.
is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item G, discussion action on the approval of increase in hours. Ms. Samanigo.
As presented, you have all the background there. Lucille Samaniego is the DHS Early Childhood Instructional Aid, and those funds, that increases from CTED. And then Claudia Cantu, an ESS Instructional Aid for servicing of ESS kiddos.
Get a motion on the floor.
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Discussion. Looking at those ESS instructional aids, just quickly, a comment. I think that those positions are getting to be much, much more difficult and demanding, right? I mean, it's particularly that petition.
The ESS.
And the district already has a provision for a recognized different stipend for that, correct? Has the district thought about, I don't know how many numbers they are, but they're exponentially increase every year, right? So have you people thought about maybe taking a look at that? Because that is a very highly skilled and very, very pointed type of instruction and help there. Yeah, do you want to comment on that?
So yes, what we're noticing, what we're seeing is that the needs of the students that we're servicing are getting a little bit more demanding. There are things that we are asking our instructional support staff to do and to handle. And so, I'll say that some of them sometimes will get hit or bit, or they have to run and chase kids. So it's very demanding. And so I think we really need to take a serious look at and see what we can do for them
Just get a
with your
motion.
support.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Members of the board, any discussion?
Yeah, I agree that it's very demanding, and I don't know what we can do that would help them, other than probably hire more people.
Yeah, there is, right now, we're looking into all of our ESS caseload, and also the salary schedule. And so there is already a slight difference in pay between a regular Gen Ed IA and an ESS IA. But in looking at all the demands of the position for ESS IAs versus the non, we have had discussions considering the salary, and also looking at the caseloads of the schools and the number of staff that are still needed at the site. So we have been already talking about that, and we may be bringing something to the
Okay,
board.
good. All right. At least it deserves consideration. Now, any further discussion, members of the board? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item H, discussion action on the approval of student observer, Ms. Soniego.
This is just a student observer from Cochise College, and is taking classes for education.
Mr. Lindemann,
Move to approve.
second
Second.
by Mr. Smith. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item I, discussion action on the approval of addendum, Ms. Soniego.
All of the addendums presented are for club sponsors for middle schools, Rayburn and Paul Huber Middle School.
You don't have the amounts here, do you?
Yes, they're in.
Oh, they're in the
uh-huh,
backup, I'm
yes,
sorry,
uh-huh.
yeah, right, they don't have them.
And they're all based on our salary, approved salary
Very good.
schedule.
Get a motion to approve,
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman, second,
Second.
Ms. Salchow. Members of the board, discussion?
I have one quick question. How long has it been since we have reviewed this kind of a pay scale?
It's been,
About 3 or 4 years, probably.
nor more, maybe when,
The extra duty salary
Uh-huh.
schedule?
maybe 3.
Maybe 4 or 5 years, I don't know, but it's been a while.
Well, I realize we have budget constraints, this year and everything, but at some point, workloads always increase. And if you want to do the best for the students that are involved, I think we might have to look at that.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes,
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item J, discussion action on the approval of athletic addendums for middle school, Ms. San Diego.
As presented, so these are all, again, athletics for both middle schools.
Mr. Lindeman,
move to approve,
second,
Second.
by Mr. Smith. Discussion?
if I may. Thank you, Mr. President. I realize that we have limited resources here, but this is an important part of growing up, an important part of the middle school, and of course, I would hoping that we could expand it at some point, but would we have enough people to cover any expansion? How hard is it to get coaches that want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, we've said it, you hear the high school admin and the middle school admin say that their availability of coaches is limited in small towns, and sometimes we don't get. So we really have expanded from, even in the middle school, when we just had maybe basketball was the first sport. So looking at all of these different sports, we have really expanded. I would like to eventually go back to what was offered back in your time when you were a band director, and the things that you did also with band. So, it just would be a matter of them presenting what sport they would want and kind of putting it out there and see if we can sustain it with our budget capacity to add more sports, because that's more addendums, and see if there's people that, for example, volleyball, we've talked about men's volleyball being an interest sport. And so that could be something that potentially could be a new sport that we add even at the high school level.
I bring that up because I've had just very preliminary discussions with some community members, and they're always wanting to have more things to, that we can,
Offer.
more organized things. And I think there is a willingness to volunteer also from the community. So I don't know where
Well,
we could look for that.
we have
but-
our volunteer process, so
yeah.
we welcome, because the middle school sports, while we do have some volunteers, most of them are for the high school sports.
Okay, well, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes,
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item K, discussion action on the approval of athletic hire, Ms. Salmonego.
You have one volleyball assistant coach for Paul Huber Middle School, and you have the background information.
Get a
move to
motion?
approve.
Second,
Second.
Mr. Smith. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes,
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item L, discussion action on the approval of athletic volunteers for Douglas High School and Paul Huber Middle School. Ms. Salmonego.
Mr. President,
It's just high school.
just to avoid any impropriety, any appearance of impropriety, I'm going to recuse myself from discussion and voting on this issue because of a family member involved.
Okay, that's for the record.
Okay, so as presented, we have all the Douglas High School volunteers being presented are all returning volunteers. So they've already gone through the vetting process through the athletic director and their respective athletic coaches who oversee their program and have received the recommendation to be represented. There is only one new one for Paul Huber Middle School, and I do want to make a note for the record that out of all the volunteers who we had back since 2019, who potentially had a conflict of interest per the policy due to being supervised by a family member, either the head coach or an administrator, we used to have like 12 volunteers that were allowed to continue and grandfathered in by the board. We only have 2 remaining ones, and I want to note that for the record. Robert Rodriguez and Max Tapia are the only 2 that remain from that original list of grandfathered volunteers.
Entertain a motion. to
I
approve.
move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just had you addressed quite a bit of it, thank you. But in our background, we don't see the coach's recommendation for returning. So all of the coaches, they make that recommendation to our athletic director that they want these specific
Yes.
volunteers to come back.
Yes.
Switch
Okay.
sheets with them for evaluation.
Okay. And one of the questions I just had, and this might be a question for Ms. Trinta, is with our many of the volunteers are parents. They are. And do they, I look at a couple and yes, they have continued to volunteer years after their own children have graduated and gone on, and sometimes they're even probably coaching their grandchildren. In at least one case. But do you see a lot of return, or once their students have graduated, at least from Douglas High School, or even at the middle school, if they've moved on to the high school, do they usually continue
They do.
coaching, even
They
though
do.
they don't have a student or a child in that?
Yes, they're just giving
Sport.
back to the community, and they have a big commitment to the sports and to our school. So yes, they do continue afterwards.
And do volunteers, I know that they're not paid, and I really appreciate volunteers, I do. We couldn't do it without them.
Exactly.
But do they usually spend the same amount of hours as are paid?
They do.
Okay.
They
That's-
absolutely do. And they put a lot of effort to get our kids where they need to be. And I can speak for the past year, we have shown a lot of progress, and our sports are showing that Douglas can. And I'm really proud of that.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those were my
Mr.
questions.
Don't go.
Mr. Linneman.
Sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring up a point that, do you ever run into a situation where there's too many cooks in the kitchen?
Oh,
Currently, no. I know that everybody knows their role, and we work as a team, and we are showing leadership, and they know their role, and we split them in between, the positions that they have, and they know what they need to do. So we are not running into it.
do most, and I'm sorry, just thought of another question. Sorry, excuse me.
No,
I didn't
absolutely.
want to
Go
jump
ahead.
in. Do most coaches have a limit of volunteers, or do they, I just think about football, there was,
I
I
think-
think back years past, there might be, 6 paid coaches, and there might be 8 volunteers on the side, and, yeah.
On the contrary, there are now at least 3 coaches for football, and now we have 5 volunteers. So
Okay.
they split the positions, as I mentioned before. It depends on the sport and the coach's decision. Finally, we have a process where coaches are the ones who are requiring or looking for to get those volunteers in place, and they're making the recommendations for me.
Okay.
So I don't go and look for the volunteers. They come talk to coaches, and coaches make that final determination if they really need them or not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any kind of formal training for volunteers?
At the beginning of the year, we do trainings. Every year, we go over expectations, AIA regulations, and we do it every season. At the end of the season, we go over evaluations. I mentioned to Mrs. Samaniego, we discuss who's gonna come back and who's not, and we had those discussions back in May. We do training as far as AIA regulations, and everything else is being between the coaches here in town.
And anybody who works with kids has to be fingerprinted and
Yes.
cleared.
And certified with the NFHS regulations and classifications they need.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, they bring up some good questions regarding
Yes.
volunteers. You mentioned, and I'll start with this, you said everybody knows their role.
Mhm.
In an organization, especially one this big, to me, you have to have more specificity as to who does what.
Yes.
And that comes down to job descriptions, and it comes down to individual duties and responsibilities. Because if you hire, like Ms. Alchow mentioned, there's 5 there for softball. Does Lorena Tapia, when they show up every day, does she designate and tell them what their activity is gonna be? In other words, do they have a definitive role that they serve? Because if you keep going the way you're going, you've got five for soccer, 5 for softball, and I think there was 5 for baseball. When are you gonna put a limitation on it? I really think, in light of the conversation, and I think I brought this up before, but I really think that you need to sit down with the administration, and you need to sit down with your coaches, and you need to be a little bit more, as far as volunteers are concerned, I think you need to be a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit more organized. You need to define what those volunteers are gonna do, how many you have. And once, I mean, in softball, I don't know what all those people could do, but if you got 6 or 7, I mean, you've got to designate on a daily basis what those duties and responsibilities are gonna be. And I think it just makes it a little bit more professional and organized. So I really would think, and I think the board members, in light of the conversation, would agree that you've got to say we have 5 volunteers and we have 5 job descriptions or assignments for them. And then if we go any further than that, because at the rate we're going, if you wanted 6 or 7, and I think I made my point. So
Yeah.
could you sit down with them and actually get this thing a little bit more systematic than just bringing in volunteers and us? You mentioned everybody knows their role.
Yes, that's determined by the head coach. They have discussions and they divide them between the teams. As you know, many of our teams are growing, and now we have not only 2 teams, we have 3. So we divide them to support those teams as they need it. We have pitching coaches or volunteers. We have coaches volunteering for catching practices or defensive, offensive. It depends on what areas they're working on that day, and that's how they split the drills. And supervision is my priority right now, to make sure that our kids are, safe. And that's how the coaches divide the practices and make sure that everybody's safe.
And one last word on that. Ms. Alchow brought up the continuity of some of these people. Do they stay afterwards?
Yes, they do.
I'm just gonna point out, since this conversation was initiated, that in one of the background on one of the volunteers, it didn't say anything about what the ability or the background was of that individual, what his capabilities were, and what he could offer as a coach. It didn't say anything about it. The only reason that he's being recommended is because he specifically said, I want to coach my daughter. Is that criteria enough to have him volunteer?
I don't think that was mine.
No,
Yeah.
that was not Douglas High School. That
Yes.
was the new one. And we did, because of the background and the information that was on there, that conversation was held with Mrs. Escalante to get a little bit
Yeah.
more background. And that person does have the skill set, and that parent should have written a little bit more than what
Yeah.
it was. But that
Okay,
was
'cause
for
that-
Paul Huber Middle School.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they started, I thought about that. And then, the other thing too is that, to me, the conflict of interest is very, very important. It's very important to the board, it's very important in any organization.
Yes.
Conflict of interest laws are written specifically because it puts an inordinate amount of pressure on fellow workers if you've got the boss is the father or the son or whatever the case might be. It creates an environment, a lot of times, of discomfort. But when you're coaching and you're a head coach and you have a volunteer that's a parent, can you imagine the pressure that or any coach? And so you just want to make sure that you consider that as well. Because we do have that policy. And if you do have a head coach and the person comes in and they're volunteering or they're being hired, you really need to take into consideration for the comfort of the coach, even if the head coach
Yes.
doesn't feel comfortable with it. And he said, well, now I've got this guy's dad working with me. I don't have to extrapolate the whole thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That should be looked at as well. And anyway, so you know what the charge is, and we'll move with that, all right? All right, you want to
do.
comment on that?
No, as I mentioned, these volunteers are recommended by coaches, and I truly believe that they do a great job.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
for
Thank
for that information. All right, members of the board, any further discussion?
No.
Do you want to follow up on any
No,
of that?
no, I will meet with Mrs. Trinta and then maybe come up with, at the next time that we probably address or bring volunteers a little bit more on what they do, as far as like baseball, it could be like help with pitching, help with, just the different duties that they have.
Any further discussion? Roll call with Ms. Alcho.
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes,
Mr. Breen.
Yes, item M. Discussion action on the approval of the donations received for Douglas Unified School District number 27. Ms. Samaniego.
You have 4 donations, one in estimated value of $2,175 in various instruments for band that are being donated for any one of our DUSD band programs. A donation of $6,000 from Edward Jones Trust to the FFA for travel. Donation of notebooks and pencils from Field Notes brand to DHS Construction Technology class, estimated value of $300, and donation of $2,000 from the County Sheriff's Department to Paul Huber Middle School Athletics.
Entertain a motion to
Move to
approve.
approve.
Second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Discussion, members of the board?
Mr. President, I just had a quick question. This is wonderful that people want to donate to a worthy cause like this. In the case of the Paul Huber Athletics, what would that go to?
That could go to any travel expenses, uniforms, no, not uniforms, anything, yeah, anything related to what their club teams are doing and needing for the.
Equipment, things like
Yes,
that? Isn't that supposed to be a district expense?
Well, I mean,
The-
yes.
The district
it-
pays
it's-
for some of that stuff, but again, this money goes to, and it's gonna be up to the
Gift.
principal to determine, because it just says broad PHMS athletics, right? So they can, as you will know, some of the sports of the clubs have more donations or more participation in parents and stuff like that. So they can designate all that money for whatever they want in terms of equipment, in terms of uniforms and any of that. So it's up to the
Maybe
the
even paying
principal.
for meals when they
Right,
go
even pay
travel,
for meals.
when they, because we don't pay for athletes' meals. And so Mrs. Escalante can meet with, let's say, the soccer coach and say, we have a meet in Nogales, or we have a meet in Sierra Vista, and we were gonna provide food for the kids out of that gift and donations money.
All right, thank you.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Alcha,
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
yes,
Mr. Breen.
Yes, item N, discussion action on the approval of fiscal year 2026 capital plan submittal to the Arizona School Facilities Board. Mr.
Yeah.
Soto.
Yeah, I can do that. This is a yearly thing. We have to report to the school facilities board about our square footage, any increase, any decrease on square footage, and of course, we already, had reported the increase on the new construction. So it's just a yearly form that we have to submit to them.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Elchow. Any further discussion?
I had a quick question. When I was looking at the emails, there happened to be an email that said that RBMS had received an open PO for $800,000. Is that a real thing?
Yes, it is a real thing. And it's been for years. And we've been carrying that PO open because, as you well know, and it's not just RBMS, but we have a big one for Clausen Elementary and the roof. For RBMS is also the roof. And this is something that was assessed many years ago, and it was approved by the School Facilities Board. And of course, we're not on their priority list in terms of those projects. So we have the go-ahead from them and say, you guys can, fix it and pay for it, and then whenever we have money, we'll give you the money back. Of course, we don't have $800,000 laying around to have that project done.
So it's a
and then get
reimbursable
reimbursed.
type of
Right.
thing.
So once the School Facilities Board give us the okay saying we have, the funding has been approved from us, from them, then we'll go ahead. Now, the other problem we're gonna be facing up is, these are quotes for, 4 years ago. Those numbers are not even close to what real numbers are to this day are. So, but yes, so there's every year we have to roll over those POs because we don't know when the School Facilities Board is gonna come back and say, okay, go ahead and do it. We do have a lot of other projects with Sarah Marley Elementary. We have projects with the high school in terms of all of the air conditioning units to be replaced because they're more than 20 years old. Luckily, we haven't had any issues. The only issue we have right now is the auditorium, which we're gonna have to address at least and replace one of them. We're not gonna wait until, they come back. So it's
Okay.
that's the reality. That's what we're
Is
facing
there
right now.
a time limit then on that? Would there be a time limit that expires or something then?
Well, no,
Oh, okay.
there's no,
They've been approved.
they've been
Yeah,
approved 4
yeah.
years ago. And
Right.
again, for design and but not for construction, which means them giving us the funding
Sure.
to go ahead and do
In
it.
other words, they haven't gotten the money. They haven't
Yeah.
given us
Right.
the-
I was just wondering why I got the email. Yeah, heck,
Yeah.
send me the money.
Yeah, right?
You know,
Right,
and
thank
speaking
you.
of that, just quickly, the elevator at our BMS, now that's also approved, right?
Correct,
Has the
correct.
money been allocated for that?
Not for construction. The design and the architect and everything, that phase is completed and paid off and everything. We're just waiting for them to approve the construction phase, which means actually, get it done. So
And
as
I
soon
think
as
that
we get it.
project is a priority
Correct.
because of the ADA
Correct.
need.
Right. So we're hoping that soon here, we're gonna start the process.
Any further discussion, members of the board? Mr. Smith?
No.
Ms. Alchow?
No.
No. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes,
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item O, discussion action on the approval for Ms. Martha Alonso to participate in the Alice Four Corners Latinx Leadership Academy for the school year 2025-26. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, there were this academy was open to teachers, and Douglas Unified was going to be given one spot. There, we had 2 teachers apply for the Leadership Academy. I have nothing to do with the selection process. It is by a committee. And so the only caveat to that, the district investment is only the registration fee. Whoever got selected has to pay their own travel, has to pay their own food, has to pay their own, they've got to invest in them. And so last year we sent 1 teacher, and this year, out of the 2 teachers, Ms. Martha Alonso got selected. So she will be taking care of all her travel expenses on her own, and the district is only doing the registration fee.
How much is the registration?
$750.
Members of the board? Get a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith, further discussion?
Does this fit the criteria for the travel?
Yes, we could, if this was one of those travel, where we would have to incur the cost, we would probably not have supported this because it is, on a travel ban right now.
But we pay the registration.
We paid the register, that was the only investment, and this was something that, I believe it was back in April, before the travel ban, because the two teachers had to apply way in advance. This wasn't just recent after the travel ban.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item P, discussion action on the approval of revising CTE computer technician position and job description. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, so obviously the demands of at the high school with CTE needs or technology needs are huge. And so we have, along with Mr. Young and Mr. Durazo, have revised the existing CTE computer technician, and you'll see any changes in red. Once we have this approved, then Mr. Young can post the position and hire somebody funded out of his funds.
Motion to approve
Move to approve.
by Mr. Lindemann, second.
Second.
Ms. Alchow. Discussion?
Were
Roll
the, sorry.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the parts in red here that were the changes, there really doesn't look substantive. Is it just like housekeeping things, or?
Yeah, pretty much, because we have to make sure, because of the funding source, a lot of these have to say CTE, because he has to make sure that it gets funded appropriately.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, Q, discussion action on the approval of student fundraising activities for the fiscal year 2025-26. Mr. Soto, are you gonna do that one? You're the one they
Alright.
submit them to, right? They submit,
Yeah, they submit them
Yeah.
to me, but,
Right.
Mr. Soto, go ahead.
unless you wanna do it, go ahead.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's about the yearly thing in terms of fundraising activities. As you well know, they have to go through the process and have Mrs. Samaniego approve them before they actually have those activities. So now there's, before, we used to have one policy that addresses everything, but now our auditors have recommended that we have a separation in terms of students and PTSO and, and the student councils and the booster clubs. So they're all kind of related, but they have to be separate. So this is the intention of
But this
of
is a general list of anything that may come about. And so the auditors did suggest the last bullet point on your background, which says other various student fundraising activities. In case there's something that may come up during the year that doesn't fall under one of those categories.
It is the person who is now Maritza in student activity and auxiliary, is she aware of that as well, so that when they?
Yes.
When all of the
Of course.
vouchers and the purchase orders come in, she knows what it is.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second,
Second.
by Ms. Selchow. Any further discussion,
Question?
members of the board?
I have questions.
Go
Just a
ahead.
couple.
Go ahead first.
I'm sorry, did
Go
you?
ahead first.
Okay.
Either one of you, go ahead.
Okay. I would assume that all of the organizations, the boosters, the PTSOs, the clubs, student councils, that you give this list to them.
Yeah, well, I mean.
That
this-
they all get this list, so there's no question about what they can and cannot
Yeah.
do for fundraising.
Yeah, I mean, we'll share them, and these, what we did, prior to bringing this list last year to you all, was we looked at, along with business office, and we looked at every fundraiser that has come through, and categorized them. And so, let's say donut sales would fall under food sales, a movie night, in the classroom or regardless where in the auditorium would fall under movie night. So that, all of these are based on what we normally get, and the other various student fundraising activities gives a little bit more wiggle room in a new activity that still has to be submitted. So we'll share this list with the admin for them to share with their boosters and all of that. And of course, any of the food sales do abide by the nutrition policy also, which is you can't have food sales 30 minutes before the start of the school day or 30 minutes after, because it is part of the nutrition guidelines.
And those nutrition guidelines, they came from the legislature, didn't they?
Yes.
Do these organizations know that, because I received a phone call recently wanting to know why the board was not allowing the PTSO at an elementary school to have a food sale 30 minutes after the bell. And I was like, did we vote on that? So I started digging through the internet and found the law that supports it, and I do remember that we talked about it during a board meeting. They need to know that this is their legislature
Yeah, it's the law, and it's
who are making this,
Okay.
not the school board.
Decision.
yes, okay. We will make sure that, and sometimes there's change in PTSOs or even change in administrators, but.
Sure.
But this is something that is well-known between our current existing admin team of the 30 minutes before and after school. So
Okay.
we'll definitely share that.
Thank you.
You know, it's humorous, and I think it's worth mentioning that the state law and school board policy says that board members who represent their constituents and the public at large, that when they get complaints or information regarding whatever is of interest to them in the schools, that it is the responsibility of the board by law to pass it on to the administration. And the administration are the only ones that can administratively deal directly with those issues, because the board can't deal with the staff, right? So it's interesting because I think anywhere you go, if a person doesn't want to take the responsibility for even bringing it to the attention of an employee or a fellow worker who it may affect, or whoever it may affect, it's always easy to say the board. The board wants it, the board said, Mr. So-and-so said, Mrs. So-and-so said, instead of them saying, it's on my desk and I'm responsible because that's my job, and the board did their job by giving it to us, right? So that happens a lot. And I know you've mentioned it a couple of times before, that people have, called you and you've gotten it to the proper place and left it alone, or you walk away from it. But then they say, they don't do it. I don't think they do it, because especially, we've worked very closely together, and they know that once they get it, it's theirs. And they have to deal with it. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because it needs to be known that board members are doing their job. That's why they're elected. They represent the community. Mr. Lindeman.
I just had a question here on the reporting. When they have a fundraiser, do they, how detailed of a reporting do we have to have for the auditors and for the administration? Say you have concession stands, and do they report then how much they spent and all of that, the expenditures, what they took in, where it goes? Because I assume it goes through you and then you deposit it. So what kind of reporting, do we have that already?
Yes, well, number one, when a fundraiser is selected or an item, through our regular audit, they may select a deposit of $1,000, let's say, for a donut sale. So they're gonna look at that. They're gonna want the approval documentation that was first and foremost submitted to me, and that paperwork has to be accompanied by the club minutes. And in the club minutes, it has to have specifically stating that, we want to have a donut sale, and it'll be, for the 2 weeks in September, and all proceeds will go to, the club. So they look at the form, they look at my approval signature, they look at what was, the cost and what was deposited. Another thing that business office has to collect, let's say if it's a PTSO, PTSOs have to submit their monthly bank statements. And so that's an audit requirement. And so they will go through an audit finding, and let's say they will look at any PTSO, and business office has to make sure that there are 12 months of bank statements, for example. That's another thing that they will audit. So everything is by the book. They look at everything.
And then, do the organizations then submit to you for approval, time and date and minutes and all that stuff?
Yes, so I look
you've
at
got
that. So
already.
when I get the form, and we have a like a three-step process. So it goes to the principal. Principal then sends it over to business office. And then business office will either send and say, Mrs. Samaniego, look at this, but the minutes are missing X, Y, and Z. Do you approve? They're gonna revise them and send them back to me, and that was Esmeralda. And Esmeralda's very detail oriented. And sometimes they don't like that because she'll send the minutes back or the request and say, this is not approved because it's missing X, Y, or Z. So it is very, there's different layers of accountability before anything happens.
Why don't you explain the exception about the LLCs, the ones that incorporate by themselves?
Yes, so then we have, the boosters who are different and have an, what's it, 501c, Mr. Smith, right? And so they're a little bit different. They, don't have to submit bank statements and all of that. But anything that is related to the list here for like student activities or PTSOs, all of that is very detailed, and there's accountability for everything that they do.
Okay. Just was wondering, I haven't done that for 20 years, so
Yes.
I don't know.
Hasn't changed.
Things change.
And club sponsors it's headache to make sure you get everything that business office requests, and it's not so much business office, it's just that when things get audited, we don't wanna have a finding for a fundraiser that did happen, and let's say it was never approved, things
Okay.
like that.
Thank you.
Anybody else regarding any of that? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item R, discussion, information on revised policy exhibits KJ-EB, PTSO fundraising request form, and KJA-EC, booster fundraising request form in Samaniego. Or unless you want Mr. Soto to do it.
Well, he kind of mentioned it in
Right.
his last, he was confused a little bit, but this came from the auditors. So we had one policy, and it was very confusing. And it said PTSO, and then in one little phrase, it said Booster Club. And so the auditors just said, why don't we have two forms, one for PTSO and one for Booster? That way it's clear, because Booster Clubs were forgetting to check off a box, and so were PTSOs. So then that way it's student activity is one form, Booster is, PTSO is another one, and it's just clear and concise, and we have, so they're exhibits. And so all that came from the auditors. So it's
Okay.
just for information purposes.
Need a motion?
No,
No,
it's
it's for
information.
information. We don't-
Information,
yeah,
okay,
it's
great.
exhibits.
Any further
Uh-huh.
discussion or questions regarding that? Item S, discussion action on the approval of the facility use agreement between Douglas Unified School District 27 and Chiricahua Community Health Centers for the mobile clinic to provide on-site dental services, medical services, and virtual behavioral health services for Douglas High School students. Ms. Samaniego.
So obviously, we've had this agreement on, so this is just a renewal, and I will say that it is a great benefit to Douglas High School, to have this, and including, even some of the middle schools, they used to have the mobile clinic. I'm not sure if that's still, that they park it out, but it's just a renewal. It's been approved by our attorney already, their attorney, and so it's just a routine matter of fact.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item T, discussion action pursuant to policy BGF to temporarily suspend policy BGB, requiring two readings of the proposed policies prior to approval of the adoption in order to approve the following policies and policy advisories immediately upon first reading. Ms. Samaniego.
So there's about, like 9 policies. They all came from ASBA. Nothing, outstanding or a huge change on any of these. And so once approved, then Alma will be sharing them with our admin team.
For discussion, get a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Mr. Smith, discussion.
It's okay.
None of those policies need further explanation, members of the board? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, yeah, administration, you didn't want to point out any one
No.
of those specifically?
No.
Item 4, executive session. The governing board may vote to convene into executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03 subsection A, number 1, for the following personnel matter. A, consider counselor's request to be released from her fiscal year 2025-26 contract in consideration of whether or not to waive liquidated damages. Members of the board, I'll entertain a motion to go into
I
executive
move to
session.
enter into executive session.
Is there a
Second.
second by Mr. Ramos?
I wasn't gonna leave without getting one in.
There you go. There you go.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes?
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Are you gonna want Katie here?
Um,
You gonna need Katie? Just in case. terminate the executive session, and we're on 5A, discussion action on the request of the release of the fiscal year 2025-26 contract submitted by Ms. Cindy Littlejohn, counselor at Stevenson Sarah Marley School. Members of the board.
Mr. President, I would like to move that we not release Ms. Littlejohn from her contract, but if a replacement is found, revisit the issue again in the future.
Okay, very good. So your motion is that we not release
We
her?
not release Ms. Littlejohn from her
And if the di-
contract.
And if the district finds a suitable replacement, then we will consider her release again. Is there a
Yes.
second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Members of the board, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item 6, announcements. Ms. Samaniego?
Yes, just a reminder, parent-teacher conferences, September the 5th from 1 to 7 at all schools except at Douglas High School from 2 to 7. Early release student-parent conferences, September 5th and 6th. And our next meeting is on October the 7th. That's
Entertain a
it.
motion to
Move to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Stand adjourned. Okay.